ass rap about. I be really into that. Flowing with my ratchet out. Every time I'm at the club, know it bring them ladders out. Don't you hate a rap a nigga screaming, he ain't got rap. Spitting all that bullshit you spitting. Got track. Watch you put them boys and them khakis in the alphabet. They don't want to see a young nigga make it out the jet. Out the hood, out for good. Hey nigga, I been good. The coupe like a Batmobile. My bitch playing Robin Hood. Kobe told me get him and I told him that I got him good. You ain't never been there, bitch. Why you acting Hollywood? Kerosene, heat the flow. Swagger on a million. Every time I'm on some shit, they be like, you killing them. He said, I ain't on that shit. Black eyed peas, what will I am? 5% on everything. So you don't see what will I'm in. Or you don't see what bitch I got. Ice up in my wrist and watch. I'm a cloud hopper. Probably take me to the top. Driver take me to my Glock so I can get strapped. And I be with that white boy. Fucking with that Casper. Laughing cause I gon' play around. Shut you niggas down. Lawnmower with that semi. Cut you niggas down. Fuck you niggas down. Who you be with? Talk about me when you see me, it's the remix. I said I'm fly as fuck. Get that purple, light 'em up. Think it's sweet to try your luck. You need a murder, hire us. Shooters, they always on deck. Just waiting to fire up. Send them at you niggas, they gon' listen like I'm wired up. Tell that hoe to get it grip. Bitch, go pick them pliers up. Catch me in the SRT. Cool to burn them tires up. We banging that flame is three. Shut them down and line them up. I hear you niggas got that work. We call your phone and line you up. Cash rules everything around me and near me. Tell them hoes I don't do singles, they can share me. I don't want to talk and do business if you scary. Little niggas shoulda never watched Tom and Jerry. Break a brick down, cop a whip, get my juice up. Pay a couple bills and lay low within the crew cut. Catch me in the VIP popping bottles with my tools up. Hating ass niggas made me sick, fuck my mood up. Swagger on a million, billion, trillion. Somewhere on the island like Gilligan. Wristwear, looking like it's made from Jack and Jill in them. Whole band bust down, big rocks killing them. My city, I'm bigger than the mayor is. Ask the streets, say I'm everything I say I'm is. I went to jail, came back like AI did, and put my city on the map, real rap. When it comes to this rap shit,
Peace and love, black family. It's the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson, King Kong Consciousness, a.k.a. Real Monger, a.k.a. the #1 black school psychologist all time, a.k.a. #1 orator of the 21st century, a.k.a. the greatest since Garvey. Brothers and sisters, I'm not going to keep you too long on this Saturday afternoon, but I just had to go live for a little bit. Dr. Umar Johnson just had to go live for a little bit. Dr. Jermaine Shoemake just had to go live for a little bit. I need to deal with this royal wedding situation. I got to deal with this royal wedding situation for a minute, black family. Peace to everybody out there. South Africa, I see you. Let me clarify. The situation with South Africa is this. I'm supposed to keynote National Youth Day in South Africa. The event is to be held on the 15th of June. To date, the ticket has been reserved, but not purchased. So my executive assistant reached out to the brothers and sisters down in Johannesburg, and we've given them an extension. This is like the 5th or 6th extension we have given them, because I desperately want to get to South Africa. I couldn't make it to Mama Winnie's homegoing. And so we're giving them until May 31st to get that ticket. So I'm hoping the brothers and sisters in South Africa can get that ticket. I am not charging them to go to South Africa. There is no fee associated with me coming to National Youth Day in South Africa. Okay? But I will not be paying for my own round trip ticket if I'm offering and volunteering my services. Then the flight should be compensated for by the hosting organization. So my fingers are crossed, and I'm hoping that the brothers and sisters in South Africa can get the financial situation straight and purchase that ticket. So South Africa is not out of the question. South Africa is still a likely possibility. We're going to see what happens. I'm still holding the date for South Africa. So that's that situation. Atlanta, Georgia. I will be speaking at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, Saturday, July 7th. Shrine of the Black Madonna, Saturday, July 7th, Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, Hotlanta. I'm bringing the heat. That is a fundraiser for the Shrine of the Black Madonna. So that means if you want tickets to the Atlanta lecture, you have to get those tickets from the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Those tickets will not be sold at drumarjohnson.eventb.com. Those tickets will be sold by the Shrine of the Black Madonna. They will have a ticket link, and once I get the ticket link from the Shrine, I will share it on my social networks. But it is not my event. So if you want to be a vendor, if you want to get a ticket, you must contact the Shrine. Okay? Saturday, July the 7th. There's a very real possibility that I will be in Sumter, South Carolina, where the Civil War began. Sumter, South Carolina. The very next day, Sunday, July the 8th. Not confirmed, but very likely that the Prince of Pan-Africanism will be coming to Sumter, South Carolina for the very first time on Sunday, July the 8th. I will be returning to Columbus, Georgia. Columbus, Georgia. And there's a chance that I'll be in Columbus before I go to Atlanta. There's a chance I'll be in Columbus, Georgia on Thursday, July the 5th. Columbus, Georgia, Thursday, July the 5th. Not confirmed, but a possibility. August the 18th, the day after the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey's birthday, it looks like I'll be making my grand debut in Shreveport, Louisiana. Saturday, August 18th, Shreveport, Louisiana. Likely, not yet confirmed. What has been confirmed is that Dr. Umar Johnson will be in the 7 cities of Virginia on Sunday, July the 15th. I'll be making my first visit back to the 7 cities of Virginia since February of 2016, 2.5 years. I will be in Suffolk, Virginia. Mark your calendars. This is confirmed. Tickets are on sale. Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking in Suffolk, Virginia, Sunday, July 15th at 4 o'clock. Doors open up at 3. Get your tickets right now. drumarjohnson.eventb.com. I repeat, DRUMAR Johnson.eventbee.com. Sunday, July the 15th. Get your tickets now. Suffolk, Virginia. I'm bringing the heat. Leo season is coming back. Leo season is on its way back. And you know how we get when Leo season is almost back around the corner. So Virginia, Hampton, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Virginia Beach, Suffolk. I want to see all of you. Newport News, Sunday, July the 15th in Suffolk. Get your tickets, drumarjohnson.eventb.com. If you're going with us to Africa this summer, we are going to Ethiopia and Egypt, Kemet and Abyssinia, July 22nd to August the 6th. You must be registered with your deposit by June 1st. Your money doesn't have to be paid by June 1st, but you must be registered with your deposit by June 1st. So if you're going with us to Africa, you have about a week to get in contact with Africa Dreamer Tours. Sister Sharifa, put your down payment down so you can be with us when that Black Starliner cruise on out to the cradle of civilization. Now, some of you have heard me talk about my upcoming course of African philosophy. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey was unique in that he's one of the few leaders of a mass organization that prepared for the day that he would have to leave the throne. And so he created a course of African philosophy to teach those who would have to continue to run and organize the government of the UNIA after his death. So in keeping, in alignment with the great Marcus Messiah Garvey, your brother Dr. Umar Johnson will be also offering a course of African philosophy. And I plan to do this every year until I am no more. So the first class will be September of 2018. If you are interested, we will be meeting once a month. If you are interested, we will be meeting one Saturday every month for an entire year. I repeat, one Saturday every month for an entire year. So we will meet in a Saturday in September, a Saturday in October, a Saturday in November, a Saturday in December, a Saturday in January, a Saturday in February, March, April, May, June, July, with the last class being a Saturday in August. 12 Saturdays, 12 months. One Saturday each month, 8 in the morning to 8 at night. It is a 12-hour intensive one Saturday every month for 12 months. It is not free. You will have to pay. If you are interested in being in the very first inaugural course of African philosophy leadership training colloquium, you can only register with me by email. You can only register with me by email. Send a 1 or 2 page autobiographical letter of interest to Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. I repeat, send a 1 page autobiographical letter of interest to Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. I will begin reviewing your letters of interest next week, and I will make a selection. Only 50. Only 50. Only 50 will be selected. We will be reading and studying from classic texts, out of print documents, out of print articles. We will be reading from books you never heard of and books you can no longer purchase. There are contemporary books we will be reading from as well. Okay? Race First, The History and Ideology of the Garvey Movement. Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, Volume 1, 2, and 3. Amilcar Cabral speaks. Robert Sobukwe speaks. Kwame Nkrumah speaks. We even gonna go back to the classic Pan-Africanists of the 18th century. John Brown Russwurm, Henry Highland Garnett, Alexander Crummell, Bishop Edward Wilmot Blyden. This is the course of all courses for all true revolutionary Pan-African nationalists. It is open to men and women. You must be at least 18, and you can be as old as 800. Elders are welcome, young folks are welcome, but you must be an adult because this is leadership. I'm going to take all of the wisdom of Ifa Tunde and all of the wisdom of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, and I'm going to put it in 50 Africans every year. So by the time I am no more, we should have several hundred Africans who have been blessed and imbibed and educated with the firm philosophy of Pan-African fundamentalism. We want leaders. We can't pray for leaders. We have to build and grow leaders. And that's what I'm doing with the course of African philosophy, which is separate from the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is for children. That's a grade school for children. We're still working on that. The course of African philosophy is a leadership clinic for adults. If you're interested, one Saturday every month, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., a different city every month. One Saturday every month in a different city each month from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you are interested, email your letter of interest to Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. Now let's talk about this. I never even heard of a Meghan Markle until a couple days ago. I never even heard of a Meghan Markle until a couple days ago. I've only learned of this royal wedding in the past week or so. Now, the irony of the timing of the royal wedding is in my last live feed, I told you all that there was a concerted agenda to biracialize African people so that they could biracialize African consciousness. I said that there was a concerted effort to biracialize African people so that they could biracialize African consciousness. In other words, it's going to take a while to get rid of black people. It's going to take a while. They thought that by the year 2000, they would have gotten rid of half of us already. That was the original Jimmy Carter agenda. That was the original Global 2000 agenda, to rid the world of African people by 50% by the time the year Y2K came. They failed. They failed. They failed. So now the new agenda is to still commit mass genocide. The agenda hasn't changed. It is still to exterminate African people, but because it's going to take a while to get rid of them physically, let's exterminate the black consciousness in the meantime. Until we can get rid of the bodies, we can at least take the mind. So let's biracialize the black folks. So although they will be biologically black, they will be psychologically loyal to white folks. See, it doesn't matter if you got 1 million black folks if they are loyal to white people. Simply increasing our numbers without giving those new babies a Pan-African fundamentalist consciousness does not work for us, okay? A politically uneducated black child is an ally to white supremacy. A politically uneducated black child is an ally for white supremacy. So you can't just make black babies. You have to make conscious black babies, because now they want the black to mix with the white on purpose so that they can exterminate the unapologetically African mindset. They want to create, they want to Frankenstein, they want to engineer a new consciousness for black folks that has them totally in line 100% with the British imperial ethos. The British imperial ethos. Oh yes. When Cecil John Rhodes left the Rhodes Scholarship, he specifically stated in his will that the purpose of the Rhodes Scholarship was to raise up and educate an entire population of young Brits who would be imbibed with the British imperial ethos. And so now they want to biracialize the African world and imbibe our babies with a British imperial ethos. We already see it. I see black people on the internet imitating the royal wedding. White little boy, black little girl. Look at how they're re-socializing us. Look at how they're re-socializing black children. When have you ever seen black mothers and fathers have parties where the children imitate a white man marrying a black woman? Since when has it become popular for a white man to marry a black woman? They've always raped them. They've always sexed them. They've always used them. They've always exploited them. But when did it become popular to marry the black slave woman? It has never been popular to marry the black slave woman. In fact, it wasn't until the late 60s that they even collectively outlawed the final anti-miscegenation laws that didn't allow black folks to marry white people in the first place. So you're telling me just 50 years ago, I couldn't even marry a white woman, but now the British royal family, the most racist Anglo-Saxon empire in the world? You mean to tell me the family that once colonized over 75% of the African world? You mean to tell me the family that once codified blacks as animals, less than human beings? You're meaning to tell me the family that pillaged and robbed and raped South Africa, that pillaged and robbed and raped Ghana, that pillaged and robbed and raped Nigeria, that pillaged and robbed and raped Jamaica, that pillaged and robbed and raped Bermuda, that pillaged and robbed and raped Kenya, that pillaged and robbed and raped Egypt, that pillaged and robbed and raped Malawi, that pillaged and robbed and raped over 75% of the African world. And you're telling me only 60 something years after the end of colonialism, they now want to invite a black woman into their family. You have lost your mind. You have lost your mind. You have lost your mind. And not only that, for those of you who don't know, Meghan Markle is 17th cousin to her husband. Let me say it again, because y'all want to play games. I'm going to deal with the facts. I'm going to let y'all play games. Meghan Markle is Queen Elizabeth II's 17th cousin by way of her father. Just like Barack Hussein Obama, I believe, was the 8th or 16th cousin to George Bush and Bill Clinton. So even when they invite biracials into the fold, even when they invite biracials into the fold, they always make sure that those biracials are bloodline relatives. Bloodline relatives. They starting to play with my Facebook. They starting to play with my Facebook. Let's see what's going on. They playing with the Facebook. Facebook, it looked like they're going to be playing with you today. Soon when I mention Meghan Markle being 17th cousin to her husband, Prince Harry, all of a sudden Facebook start acting up. So you might got to come on over to YouTube. The YouTube site is Prince Ifatunde. Come on over to YouTube. The YouTube site is Prince Ifatunde. I'm going to throw Instagram up one time. Let me throw Instagram up here one time. Let me find Instagram. Let me see what I can do with Instagram one time. Okay, we got Instagram, we got Facebook, and we got YouTube. We got Instagram, we got Facebook, and we got YouTube. We got Instagram, we got Facebook, and we got YouTube. Okay? So YouTube is Prince Ifatunde, Facebook is Dr. Umar Ifatunde, and Instagram is at Dr. Umar Johnson. So just like Barack Obama, the so-called first black president, was a blood relative of Bush and Clinton, Meghan Markle is 17th cousin to the Queen of England, which makes her 17th cousin to her own husband, Prince Harry. Bloodline. Bloodline. Now, Meghan Markle's mother, a beautiful black woman with natural hair, who married her father when she was in her 20s. Okay? Her mother used to be a makeup artist. Her father was a lighting director in Hollywood. In fact, he won awards, Emmys, for his lighting ability. So they had Meghan. They only stayed married for about 7 years, whatever the case may be. But here's what I find interesting. Here's what I find interesting. Prince Harry met Meghan Markle on a blind date arranged by a mutual friend. Now let's look at this. You're talking about a royal British prince of Anglo-Saxon blood. What prince do you know goes on a blind date in a foreign country with a complete stranger? I want to ask you that again. What prince of royal blood do you know gets hooked up with a black woman on a blind date in a foreign country? Give me a break. This whole thing was a setup. Facebook not working with me, y'all. Facebook not working with me. Facebook is giving me problems. So, brothers and sisters, what prince, what white racist prince, what British prince you know goes all the way to Los Angeles and goes on a blind date in 2016 with a biracial black woman. Not only was Meghan Markle biracial, she was previously married just 7 years ago. Meghan Markle got married in Jamaica 7 years ago to a white man in the entertainment business. So not only are you telling me that Prince Harry of royal blood is going to marry a biracial woman from California who he met on a blind date, you're telling me that he's going to marry a chick who's not a virgin, who's already been married before? So the Prince of England is going to marry a woman who's already been married, a divorcee. A divorcee. A divorcee. You want me to believe? Stop calling me when I'm live. I'm going to block you. Stop calling me when I'm live. You're not more important than what I'm doing. All right? Stop calling my phone when I'm live. I don't like that. Coon, calling me when I'm live. Okay? So we understand that Prince might like chocolate cookies. We understand that. But having sex with him and marrying him is two different things. Elizabeth II is one of the most racist women who ever lived. Queen Elizabeth II is one of the most racist women who ever lived. Queen Elizabeth II is one of the most racist women who have ever lived. And you mean to tell me that she has no problems with her grandson marrying a formerly married biracial actress from California? You must have lost your mind. You must have lost your mind. Okay? You must have lost your mind. So then the question becomes, why are they doing this in the first place? The question becomes, Facebook getting on my damn nerves. But the question becomes, why are they doing this in the first place? I'll tell you why. 90 days before the royal wedding on May 19th, 90 days before the royal wedding on May 19th, Malcolm X's birthday, ironically, Black Panther came out in the movies. Y'all remember that? Everybody wanted to go to Wakanda. Everybody wanted to be down with Prince T'Challa. Remember that? And when you saw Black Panther sparked in you a desire for African royalty. It sparked in you a desire to return to your African roots. That Black Panther movie motivated us to want to create African empire. So the Queen in the British Parliament and the royal family said, we can't have Africans wanting to create their own empires, even though we've done that before. But they said we can't have Africans creating their own empires right now. But we just gave them Wakanda. So if we just gave them Wakanda, they're going to want to be kings and queens like Prince T'Challa and Killmonger were both princes of the throne. So now every black girl wants to be a princess. Every black boy wants to be a prince. You can't have a prince and have oppression at the same time. Princes are sovereign. Princesses are sovereign. Kings are sovereign. Queens are sovereign. You can't have oppression next to royalty. If the royal family is oppressed, if the royal family doesn't have sovereignty, then they're not royal. You cannot have oppression right next to royalty. So they said, listen, we got to redirect all this African passion. We got to redirect all of this Pan-African energy into a medium that we can control. What can we do to kill the urge by African youth to build real world Wakandans while we still dominate the resources and territory and economies of African countries? So they said, we got an idea. Since black people want a real African kingdom, We're not going to give them that, because if we give them autonomy and sovereignty in Africa, if we allow a real world Wakanda, then our world will crumble. So what we will do is we will use tokenism and house Negroism and coonism, and we will allow a biracial black woman into the royal family. Now, we're not going to let her marry anybody of significance. We're going to give her to Harry. And the reason we're going to give Meghan to Harry is because Harry will never, ever be king of England. The reason we're going to give Meghan to Harry is because Harry will never, ever be king of England. In fact, he's sixth in line. So that means five of his kin would have to die before Harry becomes king. So we know Harry is not heir to the throne. Unless he's going to live to be 150, Harry will never ever be king. So they gave her to an insignificant member of the royal family. And to show you that this whole thing was a bunch of crap, Harry was a fan of the Nazis and Adolf Hitler. As a young man, Harry used to dress up in the Nazi uniform. So you mean to tell me that a British prince who loves dressing up like Adolf Hitler wants to marry a black woman? You must be out of your mind. You must be out of your mind. You must be out of your mind. So I'm going to go from being a Nazi to having jungle fever. I'm going to go from dressing up like a Nazi in my 20s, and now I'm 34, and I want to literally share my throne with the biracial divorced woman from Hollywood. I want to share my throne with the biracial divorced woman from Hollywood who don't even know who the hell she is. This whole thing was a setup. 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 And do you know why they're doing this? Do you know why they're doing this? Because Britain, the crown, the king, the parliament, they took a look at how effective Barack Hussein Obama was in America when brainwashing Negroes in America long enough for the government to take back everything our ancestors fought for and give it to another people. They said if Obama can do that to blacks in America, if Obama can make black people sing Kumbaya while they lose everything, if Barack Obama can make black Negroes in America sing Kumbaya while they take everything from them and not once challenge him to do anything, Barack Obama is the first president in American history who was never asked to do anything for black people by black people. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. Barack Obama is the first president in American history who was never asked to do anything for black people by black people. So if I'm the British power structure, I'm saying, listen, I need to reassert my control over Africa in the 21st century. If I'm the British power structure, if I'm in the royal family, and I'm saying to myself, I need to reassert my authority and influence throughout Africa, throughout the Caribbean, the Central and South America, how can I do this? And somebody said, look at what America did with Obama. Black people love white people. Black people will never admit it, but they want to be white people. Black people will never be honest, but they want to be accepted by white folks. You saw it with Barack Obama. When Barack Obama became president, black people sat down and didn't make the government do shit. All they wanted was a black face in a high place to make them feel good about being with black folks, being with white folks. So the British power structure said we should try the same thing that America tried with Barack Obama. The British power structure said we should try the same thing in the United Kingdom that America did with Barack Obama. For 8 years, black people were in a straitjacket, in love with Obama while their whole world crumbled. Let us try. We're going to let Prince Harry marry a no-name black biracial girl. And the only person from her black family we're going to let come to the wedding is her black mother. Now, let me ask you a question, brothers and sisters. Let me ask you a question, brothers and sisters. She wasn't that famous. She was a low-key actor. She wasn't major. But let me ask you a question, brothers and sisters. What black mother you know? What black mother you know is going to her daughter's wedding by herself with no protection, no cousins, no uncles, no aunts, no friends, no co-workers? Why did her mother go to the wedding by herself? The reason her mother went to the wedding by herself is because she was not allowed to bring anyone else. They wouldn't even let her white father come. They said he had a heart attack. They wouldn't even let the white father come. They said he had a heart attack and he's related to them by blood. But they let the black mother come and she had to come by herself. She had to come by herself and she wasn't even acknowledged in the whole process. Don't no elderly black woman go to no damn Europe to no damn royal wedding without no family. What black woman you know get married and it ain't no black women involved? What black woman gets married and they don't have no black women involved? You know how big weddings are in the black community? Do you know how big weddings are in the black community? So she's getting married into white supremacy's #1 family, and the only person she brought was her mother. And you want me to believe that? This was nothing but a takeover. This was nothing but a takeover. They are brainwashing black girls. It's the final stage of feminism. The goal of black feminism is to get black girls to reject black men. The final goal of feminism is to get black girls to reject black men. The final goal of feminism is to get black girls to reject black men. And so now you have a know-nothing biracial being married to one of the princes of England. Now every black schoolgirl is taking their eyes off their natural companion, the black man, and they're going to start looking for a white boy. And if they lucky enough, they might end up with a white prince. This is what's going on. Public schools across America were watching the royal wedding. Public schools across America were watching the royal wedding. Public schools across America having royal wedding parties. Black people, royal wedding parties. Socializing black girls. It's okay to go and sleep with white men. It's okay to forget about these no good black men. Go get you a white one. You see what's going on? This is the black family being exterminated in front of your face. This is the black family being exterminated in front of your face. Marriage is a political decision. Marriage is a political decision. And if you're trying to get me to believe that Prince Harry fell in love with a biracial girl on a blind date and fell so much in love that he brought her home to his grandmother and she said, sure, you out your damn mind. In fact, the British family released a statement last year. The royal family released a statement last year that said Meghan Markle was being attacked. She was being attacked with racist slander. Yes, they were calling her the N-word. British people were upset that they were going to pollute the Anglo-Saxon blue blood line with this biracial black girl. White folks in Europe did not want the royal wedding. white folks in Europe did not want the royal wedding. No, they did not. So guess what the Queen did? Guess what the Queen did? They put out an edict that anyone who is seen protesting the royal wedding will go to jail. In fact, for 3 days before the royal wedding took place, they had police out. If they caught you opposing the royal wedding, you go to jail. So you're telling me the Queen loves black women that much? The woman who is the symbolic representation of global African genocide. The Queen of England is the representation of global African genocide, and you want me to believe that she cares so much about this one black woman that she will lock anybody up who dare opposes her marriage to her grandson? You have lost your mind. I've been to London multiple times. Those crackers over there can't stand you. Remember, the crackers over here came from the crackers over there. The crackers over here came from the crackers over there. Remember, the United States, when it was the 13 colonies, was the property of England. This was once a colony. Until July 4th, 1776, this was once a colony. And you mean to tell me that they will lock people up for opposing an interracial marriage? If memory serves me correctly, if memory serves me correctly, didn't they kill Harry's mother on August the 31st, 1997? Princess Diana, if memory serves me correctly, didn't they kill Prince Harry's mother, Princess Diana, on August the 31st, 1997, while she drove through a tunnel in Paris, France? So you mean to tell me that you killed Harry's mother? You killed Harry's mother, Princess Diana, for threatening to marry an Arab. You killed her on August the 31st, 1997, in a tunnel in Paris. You killed his mother for threatening to marry an Arab, but you're going to let her son marry a black woman? You killed his mother for being engaged to an Arab, but you're going to let her son marry a black woman? You killed his mother for being engaged to an Arab, and you want me to believe that you're going to let her son marry a black woman? I'm sorry, I happen to be a thinking man. I'm sorry, I happen to be a thinking man. And Meghan Markle don't identify with us. I'm going to blame her mother for that. She calls herself a mixed race woman. She doesn't call herself African. She says she's a mixed race woman, Meghan Markle. Okay? On January of this year, Meghan Markle deleted all of her social networks. Why did she delete all of her social networks? Why was Meghan Markle forced to delete all of her social networks? Why was Meghan Markle forced to delete all of her social networks? Because she is property of the British now. She is property of the British now. She is property of the British now. Okay? Met on a blind date arranged by a mutual friend. What prince you know meets on a blind date and then marries the woman? That don't have, this was engineered to give the British imperial family a new look in Africa. This was done to give the British a new look in Africa. This was done to give the British imperial family a new look in Africa. And now they can send Meghan Markle to South Africa to negotiate the land take back. They can send Meghan Markle to Zimbabwe to negotiate the land take back. They can send Meghan Markle to Nigeria. They can send Meghan Markle to Jamaica. They can send Meghan Markle to the Turks and Caicos Islands. They can send Meghan Markle to Kenya and Malawi and use her black face just like they used Obama's. Use her black face just like they used Obama's. They're going to use Meghan Markle's black face just like they used Obama to re-confuse, re-hypnotize, and recolonize African consciousness, African resources, and African land. They're going to re-hypnotize, recolonize African resources, African land, African power, and African consciousness. See, now you're looking at the colonization of African consciousness because we want to be white anyway. Let's be honest. We all want to be white, don't we? Sure you do. Black people love white folks. So now we have a black duchess. We have a black duchess in the royal family. Now we can tell our daughters, look, you can be wife to the Prince of England. Okay? Yes. You can be the wife to the prince. That's what we telling black girls. You can be the wife to the prince. Just like we told black boys, you can be president like Obama. Now we can tell black girls, you can be wife to the prince. Y'all don't see these games? First we had Obama brainwashing black boys, and now we got Meghan Markle brainwashing black girls, but Meghan Markle will be worse than Obama. Meghan Markle will be worse than Obama because they're using her for Africa. They used Obama for Africa too, but the British has more territories in Africa than America could ever have. So Meghan Markle's influence in Africa will be significantly greater than Obama's influence in America because there's more Africans in Africa than there are Africans in America. So this will not end good. She was married for political reasons. That was a political marriage. That ain't had nothing to do with no love. That ain't had nothing to do with no love. Harry and Meghan, that ain't got nothing to do with no love. That's about empire building. That's about colonialism. That's about conquering the consciousness of African youth. "25 years from now, 25 years from now, you may not see no black men who look like me. 50 years from now, you might not see no black men who look like me. See, when you look at me, you see African. You can't confuse me with being Chinese. You can't confuse me with being an Arab. You can't confuse me with being Latino. You can't confuse me with being East Indian. You can't confuse me with being Native American. When you see Dr. Umar, you see Africa. But 25, 50 years from now, when you look at black boys, you won't see Africa. You'll see Prince Harry. They're going to be so light and so confused and so messed up. Now, biologically, they might still be African, but psychologically, they will be loyal to the Queen. Psychologically, they will be loyal to Donald Trump. Psychologically, they will be loyal to France. Psychologically, they will be loyal to the oppressor, not to their own people. So some people say, well, if they biracialize us, ain't they hurting themselves? They making more black babies at the expense of white babies. Won't they be the minority? White people have always been the minority. Give me a date in history where white folks was not the minority. Give me a date. Give me a date. When were white people never the minority? When were white people the majority? Help me understand. They have always been the minority. They are comfortable with being the minority. They have figured it out. It doesn't matter that there's only a little bit of us. As long as we can brainwash enough Africans into identifying with us, we will always be safe. They don't have to have a bunch of white people. They just have to have a bunch of black people who think like white people. They don't have to have a lot of white people. They just have to have a lot of black people who think like white people. They don't have to have a lot of white people. They just need a lot of black people who think like white people. That's all they need. On March the 6th, the anniversary of my book, Psychoacademic Holocaust was released March the 6th. On March the 6th, Meghan Markle was baptized into the Church of England. On March the 6th, she was baptized in the Church of England. They are making sure she understands her loyalty. She was never loyal to black folks, and she really ain't gonna be loyal to black folks now, because she knows her mother-in-law. She knows that her mother-in-law, Princess Diana, was murdered for not following orders. See, in the British family, you do what you're told or you disappear. In the British family, you do what you are told or you disappear. Princess Diana didn't do what she was told, so she disappeared. Princess Diana didn't do what she was told. She said, I'm going to marry this Arab anyway, and they took her life. Prince Harry knows better. Meghan Markle know if they'll kill a white woman of royal blood, imagine what they'll do to a biracial woman who don't even know who the hell she is from Hollywood. If they'll take out Princess Diana, who had royal blood, imagine what they'll do to Meghan Markle. In the British family, you follow orders or you disappear. This ain't nothing but Barack Obama Part 2. This ain't nothing but Barack Obama Part 2. This ain't nothing but Barack Obama Part 2. The most racist family in America is going to invite a black woman in. I guess that's reparations for the UK. Barack Obama was reparations for the US. Meghan Markle is reparations for the UK. Barack Obama was reparations for the US. Meghan Markle going to be reparations for the UK. Barack Obama was reparations for blacks in the US. Meghan Markle is going to be reparations for blacks in the United Kingdom. For my brothers and sisters in Europe, for my brothers and sisters in London, in Birmingham, in Luton, in Wolverhampton, in Manchester, I hope that y'all don't fall for this. I hope y'all don't get brainwashed by this. I hope y'all don't get confused by this publicity stunt. That's all it is. It is a post-Black Panther Wakanda publicity stunt aimed at psychologically disarming black women around the world, and particularly in Africa. It is aimed at disarming black women around the world, and particularly in Africa, with the belief that racism is over. The British royal family is for black women. If you do what you're supposed to do, you can end up marrying one of our white princes, and you don't need anything to do with a black man. Let me talk about that. Psychological warfare. Psychological warfare. Psychological warfare. Now, I was in the United Kingdom a couple of weeks ago. In the United Kingdom right now, black men are facing the same problems that black men are facing in the United States. Miseducation, unemployment, mass incarceration, black on black violence, and most of it has roots within the discriminatory, racist, and imbalanced policies of the British royal family and the UK government. So, what black women should be doing is standing with black men in solidarity to fight against systematic racism in the United Kingdom. But now that Meghan Markle has been brought into the royal family, instead of black women speaking up for the systematic genocide against black men in the United Kingdom, they will forget about their brothers. Many of our sisters in the United Kingdom will forget about their brothers. Many of our sisters in the United Kingdom will forget about their brothers and simply start entertaining fancies of being the bride of a British prince. That's what's going to happen. They simply distracted black women from fighting with their men. They're distracting black women in the UK from fighting with their men, and instead they have them on this fancy, this imaginary fancy that they can all marry the princes of England. This is what's going on. This was a setup for a setback. I told you that the white man is master of bait and switch. I told you the white man is the master of bait and switch. He gives you Meghan Markle, but what is he going to take? He gives you Barack Obama, but what is he going to take? He gives you a royal wedding, and what is he going to take? They saw how effective Obama was in destroying black consciousness in America. They saw how effective Barack Obama was towards destroying black consciousness in the United States. And so now they're saying we're going to use the Obama strategy. The British power structure. We're going to use the Obama strategy to separate black women from black men. We're going to use the Obama strategy by letting one coon in the royal family. We're going to let one coon in the royal family. And by letting one coon in the royal family, we can then dismiss all allegations of racism. If anyone says that we are being racist, we can simply say, like America said, how can America be racist when the president is black? How can the United Kingdom be racist when the Duchess of Sussex is black? We have a black princess. How can you call us racist? It's not our fault black men ain't got no jobs in London. It ain't our fault black men going to jail every day in Birmingham. It ain't our fault black boys being miseducated in Luton. That's not our fault. The princess is black. And you know who I blame for this? I blame black America for this. I blame black America for this. And the reason I blame black America for this, brothers and sisters, if we never showed the world how gullible we were, if we never showed the world how thirsty we were for a black representative within the white power structure, that's all Obama was. That's all Meghan Markle is. A black representative within the white power structure. Why in the hell do I want a black representative in the white power structure? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But because we're so thirsty, because we're so thirsty for white approval, black people have a psychological inferiority complex. Let's just be honest. We have a psychological inferiority complex. We have, can we be honest? We got to be honest. We have a psychological inferiority complex. Any people who ever wants to be another people does not value themselves. If black people wanted to be Chinese, that means you don't value yourself. If black people want to be Arab, that means you don't value yourself. If black people want to be Latino and East Indian, that means you don't value yourself. But you don't want to be Chinese. You don't want to be Arab. You don't want to be East Indian or Latino. You don't want to be Mexican. You want to be your oppressor. You actually have a deep psychological desire to recreate yourself as your oppressor. So it's one thing to want to be another people. It's something totally different when you want to be the person most responsible for destroying your people's reality. See, if you just wanted to be Chinese, that wouldn't be so bad. It's bad, but it wouldn't be as bad as wanting to be white. So you don't just want to be another people. You actually want to be the very same people who are most responsible for putting you in the situation that we are in now. When did the British first bring our ancestors to America? Yes, some of us were already here. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about my ancestors who came on slave ships. Okay? When did the British start bringing Africans into the so-called New World? 1619. Next summer will be 2019. We're about to celebrate, memorialize, because there's no celebration, we are about to memorialize 400 years of black oppression and struggle. And the gift that they're giving us, the reparations that they're giving to Africans around the world who are the descendants of the victims of the British slave trade, they're going to pay you back for 400 years of oppression with a biracial marriage to the Nazi-loving prince of the British Empire. You must be out of your mind. You must be out of your mind. You must be out of your mind. Next summer is 400 years since the British began the transatlantic slave trade. The Portuguese was in it before the British. The Dutch were in it before the British. The Portuguese and the Dutch invented the transatlantic slave trade, but the British elevated it. The British elevated it. The British did to the slave trade what Michael Jordan did to basketball. The British did to the slave trade what Floyd Mayweather did to boxing. The British did to the slave trade what Serena Williams done for tennis. The British did to the slave trade what Lawrence Taylor did for football. They didn't create it, they elevated it. No group of people is more responsible for African suffering in the world today than the Anglo-Saxon British royal family, and we got the audacity to be celebrating the fact that a black woman, we got the audacity to be celebrating the fact that a black woman is willing to give her womb over. We are celebrating after 400 years the fact that a black woman wants to give her womb over to a descendant of the most racial and bloody and oppressive family in modern history. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. And as far as Kanye West, first of all, I done already told you, whether it's Kanye West, whether it's Childish Gambino, whether it's Jesse Lee Peterson, whoever, if you got a white woman, you can't speak for me. See, Kanye West cannot speak for Dr. Umar because Kanye West married out of his race. The minute he married that white woman, he automatically vacated his right to speak for me and to me. No black man married to a white woman has anything to say to me about black consciousness or the black reality. No black man married to a white woman can ever talk to me about black problems or black consciousness. I don't care if it's Kanye West. I don't care if it's Childish Gambino. They don't speak for me. They don't speak for me at all. And what Kanye West did by calling slavery a choice, all he did was attack the foundation upon which reparation stands. By Kanye West opening his politically uneducated mouth, he simply gave credence and undue influence and power to the white narrative that they don't owe black people anything because it was black people who sold us into slavery. Well, if that's the case, if you're telling me the white man owes me nothing because African kings participated in slavery, some African kings, then somebody tell me, why do we keep seeing brand new movies about the European Jewish Holocaust? Because what do we know about the European Jewish Holocaust? We know that it was European Jews in New York City on Wall Street who financed Adolf Hitler's Holocaust against the European Jews. So if you're telling me I can't speak about my slavery because some black people participated, then I'm telling you, you can't speak to me about the Jewish Holocaust because the Jewish Holocaust was 100% financed by Jewish bankers. Let me say it again. I said the Jewish Holocaust was 100% financed by Jewish bankers. So if Jews can still talk about their oppression, even though Jews finance their oppression, black people can still talk about our ma'afa, even though some black people participated in the slave trade. But what Kanye West obviously doesn't understand And this is why black people have to stop letting athletes and entertainers be our spokespersons. This is why black people have to stop letting athletes and entertainers be our spokespersons. This is why black people have to stop letting athletes and entertainers be our spokespersons. You want to know why? Because most of them are politically uneducated. Most rappers and athletes are politically uneducated. Furthermore, they make their living at the feet of the white power structure. So when you ever want an honest opinion from a black athlete or an entertainer, the opinion is going to be watered down because he or she will be afraid to tell the truth because they don't want to lose white support for their product. The black athlete and the black entertainer are coons by profession. The black athlete and the black entertainer are coons by profession. The black athlete and the black entertainer are coons by profession because their success depends on a regular, popular base of support from their oppressors, white folks. White folks. White folks. Kanye West must have never heard of the Underground Railroad. Kanye West must have no idea of the tens of thousands of black men, women, children, and elders who escaped on the Underground Railroad, some of them captured and killed and drowned to death, castrated, feet and toes and fingers cut. Obviously, Kanye West don't understand that most of our people fought back and resisted the dehumanizing institution of slavery. We didn't accept it. Obviously, he's been listening to the wrong narrative, a narrative that says that black people were docile and that we unresistingly accepted slavery imposed on us. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. One of the reasons Abraham Lincoln wanted to relocate Africans out of America is because the fear of a race war during slavery. Did Kanye West know that? Did you know that, Mr. West? Did you know that, Mr. West? One of the reasons Abraham Lincoln wanted black men out of America is because there was a fear of a race war. Did you know that, Mr. West? Do you know that there's thousands of documented examples of black men who murdered their slave masters? Did you know that, Mr. West? Did you know that, Mr. West? Did you know black people were running away from slavery by the thousands, living in private communities all throughout this country, some known as Maroons, and some still keeping their native African language and cultural identity? Did you know that, Mr. West? I'm sure you heard of a Nat Turner, I hope. I'm sure you heard of a Denmark Vesey, a Gabriel Prosser, a Nanny of the Maroons, a Shaka Kagona, a Ya Ashantiwa, a Queen Nzinga. We never accepted oppression laying down. Have you ever heard of Igbo landing, Mr. West? Where hundreds of Igbos, enslaved Africans from Nigeria and Georgia, walked back into the water and drowned themselves with the slave chains on because they said it was better to die than live a slave. Did Kanye West know that? Stop letting rappers and athletes speak for you. Stop letting black men with white women speak for you. We must speak for ourselves. Slavery wasn't no damn choice, but marrying Kim Kardashian was. Slavery wasn't no choice, but marrying Kim Kardashian was. Slavery wasn't no choice, but marrying Kim Kardashian was. How you gonna disrespect our ancestors? We got a 400-year heritage of fighting back against oppression. And you got the audacity to say slavery was a choice. Slavery was imposed, but we chose to fight it. And the reason some people did not fight it is because they were strategizing and planning a greater resistance movement against the slave empire. They didn't want to take their own life because they wanted to be around to make sure their children had a life. I said they didn't want to take their own life because they wanted to be around to make sure their children had a life. The Amistad Rebellion was only one case of blacks on slave ships who rose up. Madison, Washington is another case of blacks on slave ships who rose up. There was thousands of examples of blacks on slave ships who rose up and took the slave ship back over. Kanye West don't know his history, and a Negro who don't know his history need to keep his damn mouth shut. Brothers and sisters, I feel for brother Kanye. He's mentally ill. I don't think he's ever healed from his mother dying. He married to a white woman. He got blonde hair. The brother is crazy. I just want him to keep his damn mouth shut. Don't speak for us, because you're not one of us no more. Your name is Kanye Kardashian now. Your name is Kanye Kardashian now. Your name is Kanye Kardashian. You ain't African. You left your black woman in Chicago, remember? You left your black woman for a white woman. You don't belong to us. You are a Kardashian. Stay in your lane. Don't speak on our history because you do not know it. By telling white folks that slavery was a choice, you absolved them of more than 400 years of genocide, oppression, dehumanization, and enslavement. Don't you dare. Don't you dare break your breath and ever again speak up on behalf of your oppressor against your own people. Kanye West is the Benedict Arnold of the African race. Kanye West is the Benedict Arnold of the African race. Keep your damn mouth shut. And that's why we need the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, so we can properly educate black children about what's really going on. That's why we need the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, so we can properly educate black children about what's really going on. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, Prince Ifatunde, so you can always know when I go live, because I don't always announce it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, Prince Ifatunde, so you can always know when I go live. YouTube has not allowed me access to Super Chat. YouTube has not allowed me access to Super Chat. YouTube has not allowed me access to Super Chat. So if you want to donate to Dr. Umar directly, you can use the Cash App, $ Dr. Umar Johnson. If you want to donate, use the Cash App, $ Dr. Umar Johnson. I want to see everybody in Atlanta, July 7th. I want to see everybody in Sumter, South Carolina, July the 8th. I want to see everybody in Suffolk, Virginia. Get your tickets right now. Dr. Umar will be in Suffolk, Virginia on Sunday, July 15th. Suffolk, Virginia, Sunday, July 15th. Tickets are on sale. 889-9858, 215-989-9858. Email drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. As far as the Me Too campaign, they done got Bill Cosby. Now they're going after Morgan Freeman. They're going after Chris Brown. Black men, stay away from the Caucasian cookie jar. Black men, stay away from the Caucasian cookie jar. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, and I am signing out. Black Power.